Hey tankers, and welcome to World of Tanks with PR154. We're here today on Abbey in the Tier 8 Premium Czech Heavy Tank, the Skoda T56. Now, this game was done a little bit earlier in my testing of this vehicle, as they sort of like to give this video out to community contributors, and we can run it through the ropes and tell you all what we think about it. So I guess I've covered this vehicle in a lot more detail in a separate dedicated review. There's a write-up for it. I'll put the link down below while this tank is still quite shiny and new. But look, the things you want to know the most about it, amazing turret, 220 millimeters of armor on the turret. Typically, it's assisted further by these 50 millimeter thick spaced armored cheeks. So heat rounds are not going through that. It's also, it's not without its weak points though. The hull comprises 100 millimeter plate, the lower hull comprises 80 millimeter plate. So even while it's fairly well angled, anything with at least 185 millimeters of penetration is still going to go through that quite reliably. So even tier 6s are going to be quite a threat to this tank. The cupola here is armoured by 170 millimeters of armour, and there's still a little bit of a gap here in the spaced armour, which heat rounds with at least 220 millimeters of penetration can still go through. So I guess what you should take from that is, wherever possible, play this thing from hull down. And you can see we've been able to bounce a couple of shells off the enemy E25. We sent a couple of rounds down range for good measure. We haven't been able to spot it. Unfortunately, view range is not one of the better characteristics of this vehicle. But then again, you don't really look to maximize your scouting capabilities of heavy tanks in the first place, particularly not ones like Skoda T56, which should be predominantly played from a position of support. What you certainly want to be doing with this tank is popping out when enemy vehicles are on the reload and punishing them with 460 hit point alpha bombs in a 2-shot autoloader. So that's 920 hit points per clip. Granted, the standard penetration of the 130mm main armament of this vehicle is only 208mm. It's at the lower end for a lot of tier 8 vehicles. You can change it up to 248 with the premium rounds. In this case, we haven't felt that necessary, so 1 shot, 2 shot, and we've sent the T29 back into the garage. So just focusing on those known weak points of enemy vehicles, particularly big known weak points of enemy vehicles, and you can get some tremendous amount of damage into them and just knock them out, write them off, take them out of the game. Like the autoloader, it does reload quite quickly as well. In this particular instance, though, we had a bit of a silly poke. Some poorly timed shots. We left ourselves and our front hull armor rather exposed. We took a lot of damage. So we'd gone from almost a full hit point position to being a 1-shot for most of the tanks that are downrange from us currently. So I guess there was a lesson to be taken from that, and certainly in further plays of Skoda T56, I was a lot more cautious with its what I could or couldn't do with its frontal hull thereafter. But what it does do quite well, it just has this tremendous killing ability with the 2-shot autoloader. Just taken a tracking shot from the enemy LT 432. Set the poor bugger on fire and claimed quite a bit of damage from them as well. About 600 hit points of damage off the LT 432. So they're not going to be in the game for too much longer. And that's one of the things that Skoda T56 does quite well. It just reduces hit points, particularly if you can catch enemies in their in those vulnerable positions where it's 208 millimeters of base penetration is not an issue. Now you notice a couple of green ticks at the top of the screen here. In the course of this battle, we've been able to knock over the first coalition mission of the Chimera, and this mission is fairly straightforward. It does require a little bit of luck, but all we need to do is destroy 3 enemy heavy or medium tanks, which, being a heavy tank, you're going to expect that Skoda T56 is going to be piloting along heavy lines and will invariably run into other heavy tanks or enemy medium tanks. Our other requirement for the honours completion is to cause 2,000 hit points of damage, which, dropping these 460 hit point alpha bombs with only a 3.5 second intra-clip reload, we're in a really good position to do. So you could basically get the mission done in 3 reloads if your shots all sort of came home. Granted, that's a little bit difficult to do. You've got 0.4 meters per 100 meter base dispersion on Skoda T56. I have been able to get that down to 0.38 with a Brothers in Arms crew and running vents, but nevertheless, you're not really winning sniping contests with this tank. In any case, that is victory for us. Let's take a quick look at the results. So for our efforts there, folks, it's a level 2 mastery badge, coming away with a 15-5 victory there. We've also picked up the steel wall medal for blocking more incoming enemy shots than any others on the team. Our mission criteria were quite simple. We needed to destroy 3 enemy vehicles, which we did between the T-29 Bachatillon Burrasque and the IS. And we also needed to cause at least 2,000 hit points of damage for the honours condition, which we'd been able to do in spades here, thanks to the big meaty 460 alpha shells of the 130mm main armament on Skoda T56. So we've done reasonably well here, placing top by XP for the team, but of course special mention to Mr. Fishy from Mard for coming top 3 while in a tier 7 vehicle, and our Bachatillon Burrasque, who's also been able to exert quite a bit of influence of the game, with not only sort of nearly 2,300 damage here, but nearly 2,800 in spotting damage as well. Special mention to Kilowatt 73 of the Saber Clan in the E25 as well. Certainly doing his best under some very difficult circumstances on the enemy team. And if you'd like to see one of your replays on World of Tanks with PR154, please give us a shout over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. In the meantime, take care out there.